We think of the Psalms as a book of praise, and they are. So then, why do Psalms 42 and 43, a single poem, present the theme of depression as suitable worship material? Because the Psalms are realistic. They provide, in this case, a song for even mature believers who want to rejoice in the Lord, but who aren't feeling it. True believers, as this psalm demonstrates, even mature believers, worship leaders, in fact, as the sons of Korah were, the authors of this poem, true believers can become downcast. We too, like the author, can experience spiritual dehydration, like that deer panting for water but not being satisfied. We can experience stubborn sadness, like the author whose tears were his food day and night, who's experienced the breakers of God, the waves of God crashing over him relentlessly. And we can experience extreme pessimism. We can think like the psalmist that our best days are surely behind us. True believers can become downcast. But sadness also provides opportunity for experiencing greater insight. The psalmist asks an important question: why are you cast down, O my soul? Why are you in turmoil within me? I don't think he's chiding his soul for being discouraged. He's asking a genuine question. And he secured answers to those questions. He found that he was discouraged because of religious persecution and because of a sense that God had forgotten him. In fact, that God had rejected him. Naming those problems, the causes for his extreme discouragement, was very important. Problems we don't understand, can't name, can't identify, can be extremely overwhelming to us. Naming them is an important step on the path to hope. He discovered that as serious as his problems were, they weren't sufficient to shake his confidence in God. So how did the psalmist move from despair to hope? And how can we do the same? Let me suggest 4 ways. Number 1, remember past spiritual vibrancy. The writer recalled leading worshipers to God's house with glad shouts and songs of praise, chapter 42, verse 4. And so the psalmist had to conclude that the future would not necessarily be the same as his discouraging present, because the past wasn't even the same. Remember past spiritual vibrancy. Number 2, anticipate future spiritual vibrancy. 43:4 says, I will go to the altar of God, to God my exceeding joy, and I will praise my God. Imagining happiness in a moment of sadness is actually half the battle. You're allowing for the possibility, even the likelihood of being joyful in the future. And then number 3, talk to God. Almost every commentator agrees that 42 and 43 really are a single poem, separated though in our English translations. If so, there's a significant shift at chapter 43. In chapter 42, the author is really talking to himself. But in chapter 43, he begins talking to God. He says things like this in verse 2 of chapter 43, "You are the God in whom I take refuge." That is the language of healing. And spoken to God is the right direction for that kind of sentiment. And number 4, counsel your soul to hope. As the psalmist does 3 times in this poem. Hope in God, he tells his soul. Now, hope isn't the same as eliminating your problems. Paul says in Romans chapter 8, verse 24, that it's exactly not eliminating your problems. Hope that is seen is no longer hope. Hope is the confidence that a better day is coming. God's light and his truth, as the psalmist says in chapter 43, verse 3, in his good timing can lead you to God's holy hill, to his dwelling, into his presence, so that one day you, trusting in Jesus, will wake up and no longer dread the day or the night. God's light, his love, his presence will surround you and wash away all that had made you downcast. The Christian, sealed with the spirit of promise, can count on the dawning of that better day. Let's reflect then, as we read Psalm 42 and 43, on the observations of the author's sadness, but also how he moves from sadness through evaluation and introspection to hope. Psalm 42, to the choir master, a maskil of the sons of Korah. As a deer pants for flowing streams, so pants my soul for you, O God. My soul thirsts for God, for the living God. When shall I come and appear before God? My tears have been my food day and night, while they say to me all the day long, where is your God? These things I remember as I pour out my soul, how I would go with the throng and lead them in procession to the house of God with glad shouts and songs of praise, a multitude keeping festival. Why are you cast down, O my soul, and why are you in turmoil within me? Hope in God, for I shall again praise him, my salvation and my God. My soul is cast down within me, therefore I remember you from the land of Jordan and of Hermon, from Mount Mizar. Deep calls to deep at the roar of your waterfalls. All your breakers and your waves have gone over me. By day the Lord commands his steadfast love, and at night his song is with me. A prayer to the God of my life. I say to God, my rock, why have you forgotten me? Why do I go mourning because of the oppression of the enemy? As with a deadly wound in my bones, my adversaries taunt me, while they say to me all the day long, where is your God? Why are you cast down, O my soul, and why are you in turmoil within me? Hope in God, for I shall again praise him, my salvation and my God. Vindicate me, O God, and defend my cause against an ungodly people. From the deceitful and unjust man, deliver me. For you are the God in whom I take refuge. Why have you rejected me? Why do I go about mourning because of the oppression of the enemy? Send out your light and your truth. Let them lead me. Let them bring me to your holy hill and to your dwelling. Then I will go to the altar of God, to God my exceeding joy, and I will praise you with the lyre, O God, my God. Why are you cast down, O my soul? And why are you in turmoil within me? Hope in God, for I shall again praise him, my salvation and my God.